Howdy y'all. Now that we got some parts here, we got a lot of options. So stay tuned. $7J4265. We're checking the sprockets.
And it's a wide.
We're making a template of the sprockets on this machine so we can compare them to what 4Gs look like. Alright.
Okay, and that's the right.
Well, what do we have?
Well, here's 7J's profile, and here's 4G's. And if you look to me,
they're virtually the same.
They don't look much different to me.
This is the right side of 4G and 7J.
Yeah, right.
And I know 4Gs are very pointy.
Well, and it's wider here.
Yeah.
See, this is narrower on 7J's here.
So they're definitely better, the ones on 7J.
Just this side.
Yeah.
The left.
We could leave the left.
The left.
It wasn't terrible.
I don't see much different.
I don't either. We still haven't figured out what to do here. I might take it and have it repaired. I could probably do this myself, but I'd want to do it right. I did find a new race for this, and I did pick it up. And it was the last one that I could find anywhere. So, if we do get this repaired, I'm definitely putting this in. We put a little grease on this main clutch shaft. There's a nice space in between the bushings. We filled that with grease as well. I think we're going to go ahead and put all the clutch stuff back inside of here. And while we work on that, I'm going to put a little primer on these radiator caps. One for 4G, one for 5T that's sitting outside, and it just drives me nuts that that's open to the elements. I don't know what happens to radiator caps all the time, especially these. Even our Cat 22 we had to find a replacement for, but Antique Crawler Parts has these if you need them. And this is the puller that we made to remove the pillow block, you might remember. So this was the one that did not work. But we did find a use for it. We opened this up and kind of checked in there. Looks like it's about the same kind of wear as 4G. And then since I have a new clutch plates, we're going to go ahead and leave this in here. Might need it for 5T over there. What we are going to take off of here are these oiler caps. These ones, the springs are working, everything's working just fine. And the ones on 4G are bent and broke, and they're not springing back. So these are definitely going to be something we're going to use. And we'd like to get them on before we put a coat of paint on it. Got the first parts off of 7J that are going on 4G. And I got these plugged up with some of those silicone plugs.
These are really nice. I mean, they look like no corrosion. 4Gs, this was all rusted and pitted. And these are in really nice shape.
And the spring cap still works.
Yeah,
we have had trouble finding those, so this is a good start. Okay, the thin part goes towards the case. I'm going to put a little sealant on there, and we'll put these in so they can get coated with paint. Got those in. Now we're going to work on the clutch. We're rounding up all the clutch parts around here. Got a few more here. This clutch brake, we've already cleaned up this fiber disc with some brake cleaner and a toothbrush and a little wire brush, and we're ready to put all this back together. 4G's getting a brand new clutch. I got this from General Gear. Go cleaner, go.
I'm working on it. It's dirty too.
Yeah. This had a couple of burrs and dings on the edge here. We're just straightening it up real nice with a file.
I think they're shipping dings.
Yeah. And the new part number is a 2H6777.
Should we unwrap it?
Yeah, it's going to be in the machine here shortly. I love opening new parts. We're just test fitting all these parts to make sure that we get them in the right place. There's not much information on how to put this back together in the service book, so basically we're going to just do the reverse of taking it apart. Got to jack the front of this up and reset our pick point so I can get that angle iron out of the way, because that's going to interfere with where our clutch goes. And since Rotary doesn't have instructions on how to rack a D4, we kind of improvised. So we got a big solid chunk of steel in there. What is that thing, like 1.5 by 2 inch thick steel, and it's only about a foot apart.
It's not going to bend.
No, it ain't going anywhere. Here's the moment of truth. Sounds pretty solid.
See how it lifts with the...
Go ahead and wiggle it from the front. How's it feel?
It's fine. It's not quite as sturdy as it was, but we're just about done with it being there.
Yep, 1 coat of paint will be done.
In the clutch.
Oh yeah.
Go up to the first click.
And up there you can see where the main steering clutch shaft comes through, where Dad's hand is right now. And we're just working that back. And this is that disconnect that gave us such a scare the other day. It just goes through there, right there. There's a little cotter key we got to put in. And this is what hooks up to the main clutch linkage here that hooks into this whole frame here. And Dad's doing the honors. This clutch lever's kind of been his project, so he's putting the main clutch on. Looking good. Looks like we need to get this on a little bit further. All right.
That's enough, ain't it?
Yeah, that looks good.
Where's the key? Can you see it?
No.
It should be right under there.
It is. Oh, it is. This stuff's kind of hard to see in there. We got all that hooked up there. There's a little cotter key right there that went in. And Dad's snugging that up. Got our new clutch lever on out here. And those bushings in new pin for the clutch are super tight. This is going to work really, really well. Put a little never seize in there, in that ball socket, in that ball socket, and on that pin, just to lubricate it and help preserve it. We got everything hooked up in here, and including that spring right there, which as the clutch moves, it does tend to rub on that spring, so I'm trying to think of something I can do to prevent that. Yes, this looks bad, but what it actually is moly grease that we're mixing with some dry graphite.
I think you got more than enough graphite.
Yeah, it kind of came out of there pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it...
And the reason for that is to put in this bushing here for the clutch. This is the bushing that Dad accidentally cleaned the grooves too well. The cleaner got carried away.
I didn't know any better.
Yeah, we didn't know any better, and thank you, Squatch, for letting us know. Dad's got his grease and graphite concoction in here on the bearing, and we're going to go ahead and put this together. Ooh, this is a finger pincher, isn't it?
Yes.
Alright.
We don't get it cross-threaded.
Yeah, don't do that.
There it goes.
Had a few threads that were a little bit banged up here on the end. We're going to clean them up before we put it together. Got that screwed on there. Just had to drive a little bit of a little bitty chisel in here to kind of spread that up where it opens, just to make it so we could turn it. It got really difficult to turn. Okay, I think we're ready to put this on. Are we adjusted to where we think we need to be? Or
I don't know. I think we'll have to do that after.
get to it later after we get the
That's
engine
why
on.
you spin this to do the adjustment.
And then lock it up under here.
Right. You use that pinch bolt to tighten it up.
And we can get to that later. We'll have to get this out of there.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and pull that out.
I got new fold-over locks for this. So I guess we're about ready to put this in there now.
I think put it in there and then do our coupling.
Okay. All right. I did want to note, and I maybe have mentioned this before, but the thickness of these old ones compared to these new ones, These are substantially thicker. This is a lot heavier duty clutch than what was originally on here. So we shouldn't have any problems with this.
Yeah, it'll take a lot more riding the clutch and burning it than the old one will.
We don't burn clutches because we're the ones that had to fix them if we did, and then we also had to have Grandpa complain about it, and then maybe even get a nickname. The top has a hole in it right here for the oil to go down. The bottom's plugged. And this side with the flange faces towards the operator. The flat side goes towards the clutch. Right there. Alright. There's a fold over lock. Right here. And a nut. Bolt goes the opposite direction. It has a fold over lock. Put some Loctite on.
If you wish.
Yeah. I guess this isn't somewhere we want things to fly apart. Not that we want them to fly apart anywhere. Alright, where's our up side? That's our up.
You want to bend the locks?
Yeah, I guess that's the way they go.
Turns nice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And next up is this, which is the plate that the clutch brake rides up against, and this is the clutch brake on here. We've already cleaned this with brake cleaner and a brush, and when you engage the clutch, when you open the clutch up all the way, it pushes that against that fiber disc in there, the clutch brake, and that's what slows down your drivetrain so you can engage it in gear. Little blue Loctite. We got the snap ring up here on here too. Snug them down. Dad's got his torque wrench out.
And it's the old-fashioned wrench.
What are they torqued to?
45.
Yeah. Got this mess sitting on my lap. This thing weighs quite a bit. And these pins here off of this bolt will screw up into this right here, and the same thing on the other side. I've got this marked up because this is where the oiler goes on the top to oil this bearing inside of this bronze bushing, and I'm going to try and wrestle this thing in here. We have to remove this oil line that feeds the main bearing of this clutch here.
I got to get another
and
wrench.
It's a copper tube. It's got a bracket soldered on that goes to the top of the housing, but it's in our way right now to get this in.
Pull her up.
There it is. Yeah, it's got a ferrule. It's a Cat D4 plumbing, and there's the bracket that's soldered on that goes up to the top of the house. Heavy.
Here, I can grab that shaft too and help you. I don't think it's in. Leave that locked to the back.
Like it is?
Yeah, so that we can bend it from the front.
Well, this is quite a wrestling match. We got that in. Got a lot of stuff to iron out here. Put a floor jack under the front of this so we can hold that up and try and get that lined up in there.
Raise it up and get this thing aligned.
All right, here we go.
And
more? And left or right?
Come up.
We got about half of that bracket on there, that coupler, and we think we can tap it a little bit and get it lined up good and get the other one in here. It's kind of a bear to get this in here. After quite a bit of effort and trouble lining this up, we finally got that started. Those bolts are just in there temporary. We're going to get them buttoned up on one side, take that side out, put the fold-over locks in, and then do that on the other side once we get it lined up. That way it'll hold it. But that was more of a problem than we thought it would be. Just enough to mess up the wheat harvest. Its bark's louder than its bite in this one. Actually found a couple new fold-over locks, 2B9768, to go on that coupler.
That one's pretty good right there.
Yeah. And we got blue Loctite on here too. So
let me see if I can move this one.
Those locks, fold-over locks on the bottom are actually holding from moving. We got this adjusted quite nicely. This turnbuckle here, we had to tighten it quite a bit. But this is very, very, very sensitive. Even just a quarter turn will be the difference. But we got this clutch working just perfectly now. Snaps in. Almost a little loose, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, you could go just a hair tighter.
Tighter? Alright. Let's see, that's this way?
Yeah, you got to roll it back to you. There you go.
Alright, see what that is.
You want to hold your disc up? Oh, that's too much.
Too much?
Yeah.
That's how sensitive it is.
It is very sensitive. There. Yeah, that's too much.
Alright.
You rolled it quite a bit.
Yeah. What do you think there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fine adjustment. It doesn't, a little bit of a move and it throws it all out of whack. We want to leave it alone?
I think leave it alone.
I think we're in a good place.
It's snapping in good.
Yep.
And
if you can all see that right there, there's a lock nut after you get it adjusted to lock down the bolt. And set your adjustment and it'll stay. Okay, the main clutch is in. Yeah, it's out around. I got it snapped in just to hold it out of my way. And the last thing I need to do, put this copper oiler tube back together. Well, another decent day, and a few more parts off the bench and out of the piles. We got the main clutch in, got a few other little components on here. Still moving along. I do want to thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one. I can hold it. I'm lined up right now.
No, I don't think you are.